Floyd Thomas Jr. was a master of his craft, his methods of picking and luring victims designed to elicit the most profound fear imaginable. The terror he sowed in Oakridge had grown to a fever pitch, leaving the townspeople paralyzed with dread. His selection process was meticulous and methodical. As the dark figure of the night, he would observe his potential victims from afar, learning their routines and daily habits. He would take note of the lonely souls, the ones who seemed isolated and vulnerable, their despair calling out to him like a siren song. The knowledge he gained allowed him to strike at the most opportune moment, catching them off guard and plunging them into the abyss of horror. He would wait for nights when the moon hid behind heavy clouds, when the streets were drenched in darkness, and the atmosphere was thick with the promise of malevolence. When his victims least expected it, he would strike, slipping through unlocked windows like a phantom in the night. The faint rustle of curtains and the soft creaking of floorboards were the only warning signs before he emerged from the shadows, a nightmarish specter come to life. His face would be a mask of wicked delight as he reveled in the terror he instilled. He delighted in their helplessness, feeding off their fear like a vampiric predator. The more they begged and pleaded, the stronger his sense of power and control grew. The horrors he inflicted were unspeakable, leaving behind grotesque scenes that resembled something out of a nightmare. Bloody footprints on the floor, shredded furniture, and broken mirrors became the hallmarks of his dark presence. Detective Rachel Williams delved into the haunting crime scenes, her senses assaulted by the sinister atmosphere that lingered. The smell of fear and desperation seemed to cling to the walls like a miasma, seeping into her very being. Every step she took was accompanied by the eerie echoes of her own footsteps, as if the building itself was alive and watching her. As the investigation progressed, Rachel uncovered more horrifying details of John's depravity. The walls of his lair were adorned with disturbing images and messages, a morbid gallery of his reign of terror. Each photograph of his victims in moments of despair seemed to stare back at her, their eyes haunting her every thought. The town of Oakridge lived in a perpetual state of dread, with every passing day feeling like a ticking time bomb. No one knew who would be his next victim, and each new sunset brought with it a sense of foreboding. The once tight-knit community had fragmented, suspicion poisoning relationships and friendships as everyone looked at each other with paranoia. As the nights grew longer and the winter chill deepened, the darkness seemed to seep into the very souls of the residents. They locked their doors and windows, yet it was as if the evil that had gripped Oakridge could find a way into their hearts, leaving them tormented by the knowledge that the Westside Rapist could be anyone they knew, even their own neighbors. In the midst of this suffocating horror, Detective Rachel Williams continued her relentless pursuit of John, her mind consumed with images of his malevolent grin. She knew that every day she failed to catch him meant more innocent lives at risk. The suspense of the chase was unbearable, the pressure mounting with each passing moment. With every lead that went cold and every clue that eluded her grasp, she felt the walls of darkness closing in on her. The line between the hunter and the hunted blurred as she became increasingly desperate to bring this nightmare to an end. Rachel could feel the evil presence of the Westside Rapist lurking just beyond the edge of her vision, taunting her, mocking her efforts to stop him. As she pushed forward, she wondered if she was sacrificing her own sanity to confront this malevolent force. The horror she had witnessed left an indelible mark on her soul, and she could no longer distinguish her dreams from reality. The suspense of her quest had become an all-consuming nightmare that threatened to consume her whole existence. In the heart of Oakridge, the horror and suspense continued to unravel, leaving the town paralyzed in a perpetual state of fear. The darkness that loomed over the community seemed insurmountable, an unyielding malevolence that defied reason and defiled the very fabric of their lives. The Westside Rapist remained an enigma, lurking in the shadows, waiting to strike again, as the people of Oakridge braced themselves for a night that might never end. If you enjoyed our content, please like and subscribe. Comment down below any serial killer suggestion that you would like to be covered for our upcoming videos.